thought it was very complicated. It seemed very complex, and I mean, I learned some stuff in elementary school, and I mean, I knew there were 3 branches, but you would always hear all these like miscellaneous words about the smaller parts of it, and I never really understood what was going on. It just
I thought they were all stuff because I felt like we spent more time fighting over stuff than actually bettering America.
But they never agreed on anything. I mean, we had the government shut down for I don't know how long. But yeah, I thought they never agreed on anything. They didn't do anything, and I thought they got paid for nothing.
I feel like the senators and like the House of Representatives, they don't really do a whole lot. Like they just like kind of sit there. But now, like, yeah, they didn't really do a whole lot. And the president just kind of looked at bills and then just wrote stuff. They didn't really do a whole lot.
Honestly, I thought the government did nothing at all. I thought they just sat up in their office and like lounged in all of their money that they owned, and that's it.
This is a lie. It is a lie.
I realize that like the senators and the representatives, they have to do a lot of research for their bills. Like they like can actually make them. They put like a whole like year into just making one bill. It takes a lot of time.
I learned that like the people in the government actually like work to earn their money, and that they have to do a ton of work to either make a bill or pass a bill or argue with someone to get the bill passed. I realize that they do a lot more than we give them credit for, and I mean it takes a while to if you're in the House or the Senate. I never really realized that, and the Supreme Court justices, they do a lot more. Because they have to write what they think of the bill, if they find it constitutional or unconstitutional, research to back it up, so it takes a while too.
I realized that you actually have to do a lot of work to get a bill, and even though our bills kind of took less time to do, they still had like it takes them years to make one bill, and for us it took like a couple days. But I mean, you actually have to get research down. You actually have to get how much this bill is going to cost and how much it's going to cost. Not only that, but Supreme Court justice's job is actually a lot harder than you think.
This is our president, Mr. Nolan Roberts, with our vice president, Mr. Austin Wendell. They are here just to oversee the government and make sure it's functioning and sign bills into law.
Or veto bills.
This is our House of Representatives, and they are writing bills and discussing them on the floor.
This is the Senate. Our senators are busy writing bills and discussing them as well. These are our Supreme Court justices, and they are here to discuss a bill either constitutional or unconstitutional.
Just like know what's going on and like in America today. Like just read like current events, topics and stuff like that. Just be able to know what's going on and then vote on it.
Well, I would like to find out like what's going on in our world, and then like if there are things that I can vote on when I get old enough to vote, then I'll like vote on them on how I like really feel about them, and because as a citizen it's my duty to vote. I would keep up with the news, see what's going on in our country, and vote on anything that can be voted on to help change it or impact it.
I was really impressed with the level of student engagement and student responsibility. I came in, and I believe it was your all's 5th week or 6th week of doing it. It was the last rotation. And I was just shocked at how well everything ran, how well bills passed, how well the Supreme Court reviewed it. I remember when I was there, the Supreme Court reviewed a bill on, I think it was educational reform, and they struck it down based on that it's a states' rights issue. And I just thought I was very impressed by that. And the other thing that impressed me a lot beyond the responsibility kids were taking was the things that were put in place to try to make you all make logical decisions. So there being a budget, there being an approval rating, all those things make you have to make real life choices. And so I was really impressed with how, one, you guys were functioning, and two, how the decisions you were making, you were considering real life factors in the decisions you made.
I thought it was a really neat activity. If I were in high school, I would have loved to learn that way. Because for me, kind of a hands-on experience is a real way to learn something rather than just kind of write everything down and kind of know everything just from memory. To actually experience it, I think made a big difference. So I found it very, very educational.
You know, I think one of the things that I've learned is when I was in high school and somebody told me, you know, you're going to make a difference, you think of this big, giant idea of coming up with some idea that's going to change the world or doing something big. And I think the reality is that what kids need to realize, and I think it's something that you realize, I hope through this mock government thing, is that, you know, you can influence the government on an issue you care about right now. You know, for example, for me, we've changed how teachers are being evaluated. We're changing how kids are tested. All it takes for me to impact the government is for me to pull up an email to my congressman and type a 10-sentence email and say, this is why I think, this is what I'm seeing. And that kind of thing, huge impact. And it's so small. It's so much easier to do that than it used to be. So I think just constant communication on the things you care about to your representatives. And then the other thing is we talk about federal government, the big old giant, you know, federal government over all of the U.S. The reality is the most impactful part of government is local and it's state. And so understanding that you can have impacts on the government, not necessarily at the federal level, but even at the state and local level. So I think those two things, for me, is what I try to focus on. You know, how can I communicate what I'm experiencing, especially with education, to my representatives, so hopefully they make good decisions for kids in Ohio and kids in Ada.
Thank you. I would get more people involved because I think right now a lot of us like to complain about the government, but a lot of us aren't actually doing something about it. And one of the things that they can do about it is to get out there and vote. Make your voice known, because if you don't, you have no room to complain about anything. So that would be my thing, would be to get more people involved by either getting into office or to vote.
Hey Madison, can I have your shoes?
No, they're too big. They're not going to fit you.
I'll give you a cookie.
Okay.
Well, I can put tissues in the toes.
Wait, your shoes are coming too small. What am I supposed to do? Well, I'll put tissues in the tops of your shoes, and you can just cut off your toes. I don't care.
Sure, she can cut off her toes.
I don't think it's right, but if it's the only way it should happen, I guess it's okay.